All right. What's up, YouTube, everybody? I'm in the warehouse studio at Barron Studios with Fatz Domino himself. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Up, man?
How you been?
Good, man.
I know it's kind of early. Appreciate you coming in, man. Helping us out with this this interview process. Actually, you know what? Let me make sure this mic is also set up in the right. Yeah, cool. We're good. We're golden. Yeah. So the track you did, well, almost about a year ago is "Wanna Be." I'm pretty sure that's the official title, right?
Yeah, Wanna Be.
I think our first run of it was actually called "Who You Wanna Be," and then we just ended up just changing it. After.
Yeah. When you making an album, man, you just want to break it down. Simplify.
Yeah, you just got to make it more official.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. On this track, you kind of touch on some very specific issues. I'm pretty sure you took. I want to say a decent amount of time maybe writing, or was it, how long did it take that, just the writing process?
I didn't really write that. It just came to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you draw from like any experiences or anything, or just pretty much
of course. Not only mine, but you know, when you think about the title, you draw it from everybody you see that's not being themselves.
Okay.
Or, you know, you have that person or that female where you knew them, say you knew them in high school, and then you see them now and, you know.
Right.
Like the nerd who's now a thug, or, you know what I mean?
It's Travin. Nice.
And it's just like, I steal from situations like that.
Gotcha. No, that's actually pretty cool, man, because not a lot of people can bring that type of aspect of being able to tell a story and kind of make it their own.
Yeah.
Especially in a rendition of a actual track that's kind of like this. But man, going back to the session, I don't think the track would have turned out as it did if it wasn't for that first initial run. Because I remember certain aspects of the songs changed later on as we got into the second session, and I think we did 3 total sessions over it, or was it 2? I can't remember.
2 or 3. It probably was 2, because I remember Ron came back.
Yeah.
Second.
I think we did the first session. I think I marked it down on the January 10th, and I think we wrapped up the song on the 19th. So yeah, it was a little over a week, but
yeah.
Then you had your homie. Oh, who you say that was again?
That's Ron.
Ron.
He's singing on like half the album, man.
Damn. Well, shout out to Ron.
He ain't getting paid for none of it.
That's the homie right there, then.
Yeah.
But all right, so another thing I did want to kind of touch on was just the collaboration it took from everybody that was involved.
Everybody
it was. First, it was just me and you. We did the first run of the track.
I think my cousin was here that day.
On that first one?
Yeah.
And
Curtis.
then Curtis, yeah. Okay, yeah, I remember that. And then Bron came in on the session later, and then kind of just he ended up singing what we ad-libbed at the end, and we ended up just bringing that into the track. So I guess the day of the session, I've picked up on several parts I wanted to kind of touch on today as well. Really, my favorite part is kind of just the tone that got set from the lyrics itself, really, as soon as the song starts, especially starting off with the first question. What I'll do is I'll just go ahead and play the song up until that first couple lines there.
Tell me who you wanna be, nigga. You wanna be you? Or you wanna be somebody else? You wanna be cool? Getting tired of being a good guy? You wanna be rude? That's the only way niggas getting hoes these days. Yeah. Born in.
All right, so up to there, very. I feel like it's very powerful because you.
Yeah, it is.
It's a question. At first, listening to it, you would feel like it's being directed towards the listener.
Before the story.
Yeah, before the story catches in, and it's actually later on you find out it's more. It feels more towards the character that you first created on the first verse, but it's kind of. It sets the tone right away of just being like, oh, okay, I'm self-aware. This dude's asking me a question. It seems like a simple question, but it has a complex answer depending on who you are, what's your upbringing.
You
Exactly.
ask yourself that question.
Exactly.
You know
like
what I mean?
it's very.
Like,
when I've listened back to the track, I thought of to myself like, yeah, like who do I want to be?
Yeah.
If I was that kid that just still in high school or just coming out, still not figuring out what their major is in life, what they want to pursue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very tough time or confusing time for anybody at that age. But it's definitely a question that gets asked a lot, but the answers are always overlooked, I feel.
Most definitely.
Yeah, like so what I wanted to do, I guess mix wise, since it seemed to be very personal, intimate with the listener right off the bat. So what I wanted to do was just make sure that I made sure you were close on the mic. One, just that creates a kind of sound on the mic to just being up close and personal.
Yeah.
It's right there, like having a one-on-one conversation with it. And I don't think I went too effects crazy on your lead vocal. I may have added some reverb just to kind of add some spread to it, but it was more of just, this is a one-on-one almost type of situation, because if you're telling a story, it's that type of feel, it's that type of hip-hop. So yeah, like I thought it was amazing. I think we did a total of 3 takes.
Yeah.
And
I probably
by
had
the
to
third
plug
one,
in a few times.
yeah.
Because that ending was, I think I changed it or something.
Yeah, there was a part that got rewritten towards that end for sure. And but yeah, man, it was for me that was my favorite part. Was just the opening line and how right away it kind of just set the tone for anybody that might have been listening. But what's your favorite thing about this track?
I mean, like, my favorite thing is what people take from it.
Mm-hmm.
When I released the album, I waited to see who's, everybody has a different favorite track. And a lot of people migrated to this one. And, the thing about storytelling, it's like when you're watching a movie, sure, this character going through whatever is not you.
Right.
But he can go through something that makes you question what you're going through, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when a song
Just
comes
kinda
on, it's saying who you want to be, right? Even though it goes to tell this story about this girl and this boy, in the beginning, it's talking to the listener.
Right.
And then it tells the story of somebody who went through something, or a girl who went through something. And at the end, like, it doesn't even tell the ending of their stories.
Right.
Let alone the
Okay.
ending of yours. So what it's basically saying is, here's 2 characters. Here's how their life started up until a certain point, and it goes somewhere.
On the left.
And it makes you question what you've done so far and who you want to be. Like, at the same time, it's like saying the beginning doesn't mean the end.
Okay.
She was raised in a certain family, blah, blah, blah. She went through this. Who you want to be? You want to be this, you want to be that. You know what I
Change the
mean?
person. Okay.
Guy from the hood. He came from these circumstances. He did this. Who you want to be? You want to be this? You know what I mean?
Right,
so
right.
it's like, that's how I pictured it when it came to me. And for the most part, man, I like the fact that it creates that dialogue. When people say, I want to be this, or, man, I wanted to be this when I was younger, and then
Right.
life hit me. And you know what I mean? Like, it creates that. So
People always have that conversation, especially with a certain someone they feel is special, and at
Most
least they
definitely.
can speak that type of topic with.
And it was written a certain way. I didn't think people would catch it, but when I say nigga, like, it's me being tough on a guy versus a girl.
Right.
Like, I don't know if
Exactly.
people caught that, but I didn't say who you want to be, boy, or who you want to be, dude. Or I didn't say that for a reason, because I'm tough on guys.
Right.
Like, I'll give money to a homeless woman before a homeless man.
Gotcha.
So in the song, when I say nigga, who you want to, like, I'm rough on a guy.
It was almost
Yeah.
halfway aggressive to
Yeah.
to the guy.
And when I'm like, who you want to be, girl, it's like, I'm more considerate.
Right.
I'm actually talking to her. But guys, I'm tough on guys, man.
Guys need to. They're supposed to be the breadwinners. That's what we're perceived
Most
as. So they do have to, like, you have to have that shit figured out by a certain age.
Exactly.
So for the first verse, like, we start getting into the story of the first character you introduced. I guess when you first started spitting that first line, when you started writing this, did you have somebody in mind that you pictured?
It started as me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm from the hood. I play ball.
Right.
You know?
So
And I
you're
used to-
looking in the mirror now, just like, who do you want to be,
like
man?
it started with me, and then it kind of just turned into some people I know. You know, a variety of people I know. But it definitely started with me.
Gotcha. And it's more of the shining light on
Yeah.
what it's all about.
Yeah, it's sort of like looking in the mirror.
Gotcha. That's dope, man. I did not expect that right off the bat, man. That's cool. I'm glad
That definitely
something I
started
learned.
with me.
What I'll do right now is I'm gonna go ahead and just play a little bit further into the track, kind of just going into
You'll hear on the
the
story.
story.
In the
of the
story,
guy.
you'll hear when it changes from me to the character. Watch.
All right, gotcha. I'll play a little bit back so that way we kind of hear it coming into that.
That's the only way niggas getting hoes these days. Yeah. Born in the hood, no better than the rest of us. Strong mama, no papa. Story no better than the rest of us. Coming from a place where it ain't nothing left for us. Plus, coulda sold dope for this dude that he know it. Really coulda got the best of him. Tried to escape from it. High school played b-ball, but that shit was a pipe dream. Nigga wasn't even 6 feet tall. But honestly though, God gave the boy a grind of his own. From a family that barely had a car, the young boy had a drive of his own. Tell me who you wanna be, girl.
That definitely switches up right there. But I did want to talk from about the kind of span of somebody's entire, what feels like high school story.
Yeah.
And what you did, like you said, going back to what you just said, it didn't really have an ending. It kind of just, it's left to interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll let you go ahead and talk about how you wanted to explain that story a little bit. But
You know, where the part where it said, like, it started talking about me,
Right.
you know? And then when I say in the song, story no better than the rest of us, it was like me looking at myself and some people I know saying, up until this point, this is just like us, you know? Strong mama, no papa. It's just like,
right, yeah,
you know, no better than the rest of us. Like,
Yeah.
me too. You know what I mean? And then it
part
goes in,
most listeners can relate to. Yeah,
exactly. And then it goes, part of it, after that part, it switched to, you know, somebody I might know, you know, even myself, who had the opportunity to sell drugs or do whatever,
Right.
you know. And then I played high school ball. Family didn't have a car. Like,
Yes.
it's not only looking at myself, but I know many people who came from a single parent household, didn't have a car, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, for me, I always say perception is everything, right?
Right.
So you take people in certain circumstances, and for some reason, it does something different. If we're both in the dark, you can grow up and say, man, I'm cool with being in the dark. Or I can grow up and say, you know what? I don't want to be in the dark no more. I need the light. And it's like, that did something to both of us.
Right.
So it's like, in these situations, it's like, who you want to be, it touches on all of us directly, but all our stories don't end the same. Why is that? You know what I mean? That's when perception of what you see and how you interact with everything, your environment, it plays a vital role. But you do have a choice.
Okay. So I guess that explains a lot more to why you said everybody seemed to gravitate towards this song.
Mm-hmm.
For the relatable factor, anybody who went through that is going to gravitate towards the track, of course. But you left the ending open for their interpretation. So I guess it kind of reflects back on them being like, finish the rest of your story. I mean, it's
Most definitely.
it's yours now at this point. So
Because it could go good or bad.
exactly, yeah, and it's really up to the listener at that point. But that's so. I didn't realize that you didn't really put the ending of these stories like right off the bat, and I think that was a very smart move, especially just coming in listening as as any listener would. So, but dude, that's some heavy shit right there, man. But obviously you drew from experiences. I guess when you first started writing, was there a certain feel from other artists that you were drawing from, or were you listening to other tracks at the time that inspired you to try to write something like as heavy as this?
I don't know, man. It was more so the track.
Just
like,
the instrumental?
I can't really write without the actual music, because
Right.
I don't write, like I just come up with it in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I just spent a lot of time riding to this track, man, and like my cousin knows this. Like every track that I'm on, like I ride to it for a while and just different flows, different cadences, until I finally say, okay, this is what I want to do with this. Because this wasn't, I don't even know what it was at first, but it wasn't a story.
Yeah,
It wasn't, because I mean, you hear the beat, it's like a trap, like a laid back trap type beat, or you don't expect.
Yeah, those type of lyrics to be laid on
Exactly.
top. Okay.
So, man, that's how it turned out for some reason. Like,
I think it worked out for the track, definitely, because I don't see this track working out any other way. I guess since we're on the subject of drawing from experiences, if you, I guess, on the project, do you have other tracks that are more about storytelling, or did you go more towards the way of?
oh, most definitely.
Okay, so do you feel it's better to create someone's life story or draw from experience? I want to say, I would assume it's usually drawing from experience, but
I mean, the thing about it is, the thing about me, I look at it like this. When I read books, like I used to read certain books, like only like autobiography, nonfiction, like I would read stuff like that.
okay.
And it's just cut and dry. It's like just cut and dry information. It's
linear.
sort of like
There's no-
learning, right?
Okay.
So after a while, I learned how imagination is just as important. Because some people are trapped in a certain place. If you can't see past that, what are you going to do? And some people who, like, you look in your environment and you see certain things. Like, say you see drug dealing, you see prostitution, you see abuse. And if you don't have imagination, you can't see past that. And that's where imagination comes from. A lot of people get trapped in those same conditions because they just see it. You know what it is?
See
Like
it,
they just,
and that's how they perceive it.
that's it. They just see it. And that's where imagination comes, man. You got to be able to look past it.
Okay.
So that's how I look at it, man.
Okay.
When you got to have both. You can't you can pull from yourself, but sometimes, you don't want to put yourself out there. Sometimes.
Yeah, you can't be too.
I mean, but I have some tracks where I just threw myself out there. I did a track about my grandma.
Oh, okay.
I did a track about my dad. I did a lot of stuff like that. So, but at the same time, people don't want to just hear stuff like that. So I got some friends that
You
I
gotta take them on a
about.
roller coaster of emotions throughout the album. So
And it's fun to do music-wise, because when you pull from like people close to you and they listen to your music, it hits them.
yeah,
It makes them say, "Man, is he talking about me?" You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, and
exactly.
I love doing that.
that's awesome. Because what's been like your favorite reaction then from somebody who like knew it? It's like that they knew it was themselves you were talking about.
Some people don't like it.
Some people get mad.
Others use it as like like a good thing.
Right.
What we all use music for. We use it for a getaway or to relax or therapy.
Yeah.
And when you do that for somebody who couldn't do it for themselves, that's a good thing.
I would say so. I mean, you're putting it into an art form.
Yeah. How many times have you heard a song, whether it was Adele, Andre 3000, anybody say, "Man, I feel like I could have wrote that song."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That same feeling. That's a good feeling.
It's almost going to like, I think I wrote this song. I told him my story and he
Exactly.
rolled with it. That's awesome, man. So yeah, on this, I guess this next part here, you kind of go into a longer version of a story with a different character.
That explains it. Talking to a woman.
Yeah,
It's gonna be longer.
the switch up. Let's go ahead and just play that real quick.
He had a car, the young boy had a drive of his own. Tell me who you wanna be, girl. You wanna be you, or you wanna be somebody else? You wanna be cool? Let me guess. You wanna be the baddest bitch? Red bottom on the bottom of your shoe? That's the only way a nigga with 6 figures will even bother looking at you. Born in a better place. She had both parents. Taught her all about love. She learned everything about marriage. The prettiest of dresses. They kept shiny shoes on her feet. But little did they know, she fall in love with every guy that she meet. That shit backfired. High school was a cheerleader. You know the ones get tossed up, nigga that she fell for really didn't care neither. Now she just wanna fight for him, and he just wanna fight on her. Yeah, she looked real popular outside looking in, it would seem like the life, don't it? Now she tryna cover up the scars with makeup, hoping that it make up for everything she lacked when she wake up. But it'll never weigh up. And lately she been feeling like she drowning. She just waiting on the way up. Her people thought it was a phase, and now they stuck wondering how long it'll take her.
And right there is probably my next favorite part right there, is because we went to the part where you kind of talk about, and lately she's been feeling like she drowning.
Yeah.
She's been waiting on the way up.
Yeah.
How people thought it was a phase.
Mm-hmm.
And right there, I felt like it got real intimate, especially for any female listener. So what I did was I threw those keywords in a delay, and I'm glad you decided to keep it, because I felt like it was just something that needed to happen right there, because you left it open, but it was these keywords that I feel like, these words that may have been like thrown at the character's life multiple times throughout their life.
Everybody says, went through a phase.
Yeah.
I was,
she's just going through that phase. She's going through that nerd phase. Whatever phase it may be, people go through a phase, whether they like to admit it or not.
Yeah.
But what I feel like what might be annoying is people pointing it out.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did with those echoes was kind of use it as a pointing it out to the listener. Interpreting it as like the subconscious kind of talking back back against itself, I guess.
Yeah,
just
most definitely
doing that. But yeah, like it's that talking. Yeah, you're talking back to yourself, the subconscious. And I obviously that inspired me to kind of tuck it back in the mix and reverb it out, because I mean that's how we perceive talking in our head. It's just this voice that's just there, and it's just, it fills your mental state, I guess.
Yeah. So, and it's always like better. It sounds better.
It sounds better, and
it knows how to sing. You know what I mean? Like it's like
it's the perfect version of your voice if there if there wasn't any factors affecting it. Yeah, that's a good way to say it. But so, who do you feel this one was dedicated to, especially this verse? Or
funny story, man. Is the first story started with Amira and myself, right?
Right.
The second story started as like a mirror on my ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
And the reason it was, the crazy part, she heard this song, and when she heard the beginning, she was like, "Wait a minute. This about me?" And then it changed
right away.
Just like it changed in the first story. Like, is it about me? Mm-hmm. And then it went some other way.
So she's heard the track.
Yeah, she heard it before it was out.
Oh man.
So what happened was, and how I came up with that, is we were total opposites. I come from a single place, both parents on her side. She really knew about love. I didn't. They taught her everything. And like that's where it came from. And that's not her story, but that beginning, it gave me a story. It gave me an opposite end. Huh. And you would think the reason her story is not per se a good story, even though it hasn't ended, it's basically saying this one started out bad, could have been bad, or people may look at it and say, okay, went down the wrong road. Her started out good and she went down the wrong road. You know what I mean? Most people think, because of that certain perception, that if you put them in this circumstance, they're gonna go this way.
They're gonna end up at a certain point.
Exactly. So that's why her story had that good beginning, kind of shaky, but it isn't over.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's where that came from.
Man, that's funny. Because, the people who do have a rough upbringing do try to strive towards a better lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never thought about it that way, but with someone who's had the silver lifestyle of just, luxury and stuff, having both parents both loving, and being able to teach all the good aspects a person should have, I guess. I never would imagine them. Yeah, never imagine it as backfiring.
I mean, sometimes you see that though. You see in movies, and I went to a certain school where, families had money, and they're pretty much guarded until a certain place. When they're on their own, they treat people as if they still have all this money, or their parents are still right there watching over them. You know what I mean? So it's like, in certain ways, it's not a good thing. Like if I had money since I was a kid, and then I grow up, and that same money makes me treat people like shit, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, in her situation, it wasn't money, it wasn't anything we would perceive as bad, it was love. She learned about love, and then she loved everybody. The story says they taught all about love, and she fell in love with every dude that she met, which is a bad thing. You know what I mean? So it's like certain things like you use, or sometimes when it's in abundance, you don't know how to work when it's not as much. Money, when you got money, you don't know how to function when you don't have money sometimes. You
don't appreciate the value in things.
You really don't appreciate the value at all. But same thing with love, in that story, it was like she learned it, she got it, she seen it up close, and then all of a sudden...
She decided to share it with everyone rather than...
And, she probably ran into somebody like the guy from the first story. His perception of love
is just, different,
Yeah.
And I guess that makes sense, too, because of the fact of, like, how you'll have, like, a perceived as perfect family, but the kid always seems to want to rebel.
Most definitely.
And I guess
some outside looking in, you're like, man, what are you doing? I wish I was in that big house or had a car when I was 15. You know what I mean? And so the story goes into, with the girl, it kind of touches on things that are, I don't want to say obvious, but, things that you see a lot. Mm-hmm. I feel like saying she was a cheerleader, a lot of girls like, man, I was a cheerleader.
Yes.
Or saying something like, now she trying to cover up the scars with makeup. Damn near every woman is going to be like,
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and I said that specifically because social media, you see that. Like, you see the women with all the makeup and the filters, and I asked myself, man, what are you hiding? Like, you're hiding something. You know what I mean? So that story towards women, it was longer for a reason, man.
Definitely more, I guess you drew different, more aspects from hers, I guess, for sure.
And I don't even call women bitches, but, that sarcasm's like, let me guess. You want to be this. You know what I mean?
Right. So, I guess going into the final leg of the track, man, we this part, it gets close. I think you freestyled this on the first initial run, and we ended up keeping it. And I'll just play it for right now.
Now they stuck wondering how long it'll take her. Tell me who you wanna be, girl. You wanna be you, or you wanna be some other chick? You wanna be cool? You wanna live a lie? Or you wanna be the truth? That's the only way a nigga with any sense even bother looking at you. Who you wanna be, nigga? You wanna be you? Or you wanna be somebody else? You wanna be cool? You wanna get money? Big house and a pool? That's the only way niggas getting hoes these days. These niggas want hoes these days. Everybody.
definitely came up with on a whim.
Yeah, like on the last part. I think you were freestyling for about 8 bars, and then we ended up just keeping like the 2 most important stuck out lines.
Or the ones that sounded the best.
Yeah, I guess the ones that you actually sang the best, yeah, too. Because do you typically sing on tracks at all?
Never.
And this day you just got that vibe to do it, man.
That's why we got Ron in here. Crazy, my Curtis, he was like, man, you should leave it like it is. And then when Ron did it, we were all here. Ron did it. He was like, that sounds angelic. It's like, all right.
All right, I guess we'll keep it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that line right there, it was freestyled, but it felt like the inspiration for the guy's story, at least, of like what it was all about for him. And but it wasn't the only inspiration, but definitely a main factor in what he wanted.
It's almost like a summary, almost.
Yeah, exactly. Like the point of it here for this guy is this, but it sounded so good that of course we kept it right there at the end, but we needed the song was just missing like the last factor. And I'll go back to the beginning because we got Ron to come back in and actually sing most of the key lines from that, and a couple echoes here and there throughout the track. But it made for the intro, which I don't think it would have worked any other way without him doing that. And I just want to replay the beginning one more time just to kind of come back to like why the inspiration of the intro is there. It's because of that last line that was freestyled on a whim, and it made the track that much more whole.
Tell me who you wanna be, nigga.
And then we're back to the original story, but dude, that was it sets the tone, obviously, in the intro, and then really kind of, all right, so what do you want?
Exactly.
Who do you want to be? And I honestly think it was great that we decided to keep it. So
yeah, I just feel like that statement, like niggas want hoes these days. Like these days, it fits everybody, you know. And then when you think about the who you want to be aspect of it, you think of everything that people do, like the way they dress, the cars they drive. It's all for hoes. Even women. When women get dressed up, and like I've heard many women say, I got hoes. Talking about dudes. And I'm just like, man, that's crazy, you know? And it's like we're being something that we're not, all for hoes. You know what I mean? And it's like when the song comes on, when you hear that, it automatically, you know, signals like, it's like something you would say in conversation, but nobody says it on the song. They'll say these hoes ain't loyal, but they won't say, you know, they still want the hoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's great. I think you actually shined light on what it's actually all about for most people. Because women, you feel like women rule the world. It's a man's world, but women rule the world. And I think that might be a quote from somebody. That's true, the one thing that I've known.
Yeah, I had a debate with a friend of mine, and I convinced him that as a guy, we're so simple, right? Like we wouldn't even brush our teeth or bathe if not for women.
Exactly.
You know? And he's
man.
like getting dressed to go somewhere. He's spraying on cologne. I'm like, you know you're doing that for a woman. He's like, no, I just like to look good. I just like to smell good. It's like, no, you don't. Like, no, you don't.
Who taught you to do that in the first place?
Women like guys that look good or smell good.
Cleaned up.
Or drive a certain car, a fresh cut. And women like that, therefore we like that. And we don't even think about, man, this is why I go to the barbershop every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To look good. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's no one will say it, but yeah, that's exactly why men do certain things.
It's all for hoes.
All for Hoes. Yeah, there you go. That's we'll title that as the interview name. All for the Hoes. But yeah, man. Like I guess with this track here, we did several things, especially echo wise. The reverb on the singer as well to kind of make him be another voice inside someone's head.
Most definitely.
And I again, thank you for letting me work on this track because actually you work with Jason a lot, and this is our first session. I think dude, I appreciate you letting. I'm glad this actually made the project as well. But dude, this was I don't think this track would have worked out any other way. So, I guess. To wrap up, we did some cool things on this track. Any I guess what do you feel like may have been the final thought of the punchline for this?
Man, I don't know, man. I just feel like the actual collaboration of everybody, right? To me, it makes a difference, and that's why for the most part I work with Jason. Jason has a lot of input. He
does, yes.
And when we came in on this session, it was no different. It was like, man, I'm not the artist that's like, it's my way, this how we, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, man, how do we make this sound the best it can sound?
Yeah, and that's what we strive to do.
Yeah.
For the most part, some artists do have a sound that they already picture having on the track. And they want the engineer just to get whatever's out of their head and put it onto the track. We could totally gravitate towards that as well. But for the most part, like this was just when we first did the track, it was just your lead verse, no other vocals, no effects. Yeah. It was really just dry. And we kind of just built the track around that.
Yeah.
And it was like a collaboration from everybody in the room. We were like, well, this sounds good here. Let's try this.
Yeah.
I think we had you change how you said lines. I definitely made sure to, when we were recording, I didn't want you to mess up on any line. And if you needed to change something or be more intimate, I wanted to make sure to capture that because this is a very intimate track. You're telling a story. You got to be able to tell it.
This is the second track that I've done where I'm rapping, but I'm not rapping, but I'm not talking. Like it's weird trying to find the medium of where you're not talking. It's like who you want to be. You know what I mean? To who you want to. You know what I mean? Like so, it's
being
like
too aggressive. Okay, so you're having a conversation. I guess that's how you're putting it because you're not reading like you're not just reading your lyrics and reciting it to a mic, emotionalist, and it's more of a conversation, one-on-one, and that's what inspired most of my decisions mix wise because it had to be intimate, it had to be in the listener's face almost. And I mean, for right off the bat, I mean, you broke down the fourth wall with the listener with that first question. So yeah, that's it's all these factors played into why this track turned out the way it did, and
that's
working with the two
my
tracks
summary, man.
Mixed well.
I think we all could relate, therefore we all had input, and that's how it came out the way it did.
Hell yeah. I agree. So do you have like any shows or any releases, any videos, anything coming up soon?
January, I'm probably gonna release the visual for my grandmother.
Okay.
The song is actually titled January 18th. Off the Scattered Thoughts project that we released October.
Okay.
So that's still pretty much new. We had a show with you guys January 2nd, Fitzgerald's.
Yeah. Be there.
And,
come check us out.
We have that show. But this is actually the first show, man. We put together our own shows.
Yeah.
So, man, a lot of times we don't really mess with other people. But the fact that you guys were a part of this, we was just like, let's go ahead and do it.
We appreciate that, man. Hell yeah.
A lot of people we do shows with.
I'm telling you, if you guys not seen this dude perform, I think when I first started working here, we all went to Warehouse.
I remember you up there, man.
Yeah, dude. I think I was just barely turning 20. I just had turned 21, I think, and I was buying drinks for everyone that worked here, and it was great, man, just to see you get perform because you had like a band and everything, and it was like this dude has stage presence, and it's great to see that, especially since I don't get to see a lot of the artists here perform outside of work rather than just on the mic, and it's always just the performance. But sometimes the aid of a video for a song helps out a lot, but to see them perform is another thing as well, because it's another take on the track.
I think that's like a different art, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, you can go in the booth and say whatever, but it's a different art when you're on stage.
Yeah.
You know, you can't say I'm an artist and paint a picture. That's a different art. You know what I mean? So I just watch, man. I watch people, they stand still, they don't put a lot of thought into it. And this next show, January 2nd, like I'm working on something that's weird. Like if I can pull this off, you're gonna be like, did he just do that? Did this just happen on stage? And I'm gonna open with it. It's gonna be like a drama. Like it's gonna be weird.
All right, so then you guys heard it here first. Just make sure you're there. Catch out the dope show on the HTX Indie Fest 2. Fatz Domino will be performing. How can people get a hold of you? Like any social medias?
Instagram _Fatz Domino. That's FATZDOMINO. Same for Twitter. I'm actually still on Twitter. You know,
I'm still on Twitter.
You know, a lot of people, they don't tweet, man. So you kind of just mess with the younger generation.
Yeah, I still feel like it's a useful tool for
it's very useful.
Artists.
That's where all the main artists. That's where the news break.
Yeah.
When Meek Mill went off, you know, it's like, oh.
When he went off, it was straight through there. Yeah.
Meek Mill went off on Twitter. You know, I don't Snapchat. Facebook, Fatz Domino Music. iTunes, Google.
Did you say SoundCloud?
SoundCloud, Fatz Domino.
Just Fatz Dominoes.
Yeah.
And that's FATZ Domino. Well, yeah, man. I think that about wraps everything up for what I had. Do you have anything else you want to share with the YouTube, the world?
Nah, man.
Cool.
See y'all January 2nd, man.
Yeah. We'll see you January 2nd. I guess from everyone here at Barron Studios, happy holidays, happy new year. We'll catch you guys January 2nd. We're out.